Ladies and gentlemen, Six Fig Stock Trader here on YouTube, and today we're going to be talking about 3 reasons why I'm bearish with the crypto market right now. So welcome back to the channel, everyone. I do appreciate each and every single one of you being here. Again, this is objective. This is my observation and TA. This is not financial or trading advice, so let's get that out of the way right now. With that said, folks, I'm going to go over 3 reasons why I am bearish right now with the crypto market. Primarily, we will look at charts on the 12-hour and weekly. So we'll just start off with the number 1 reason why I'm bearish, and that was because of this ending diagonal that had formed the last time we saw huge market corrections. So we got this ending diagonal that formed, price build. This is the same style pattern that showed up on the charts back in March and April, which tanked the market. And so we can see they are somewhat similar in size, but you know, are things going to get as nasty as they did before? Nobody knows. Now, if you've been watching the channel, another thing that I want to talk about is the simple fact that we can observe that price action after getting an all-time high has historically come down, bounced off the 50 moving average one time, and slipped into the bear market. Now, history repeats itself often. I'm not saying it's going to, but we cannot discount this. 2018, we see a bounce off the 50 and slide into the bear market. What happened in 2019, 2020, when we had this little mini run? Well, we can see price action still, with coronavirus, bounced off this 50 moving average once. And where are we right now, folks? We are coming off a new all-time high, bouncing off the 50 moving average, and look at where we are. So it's anybody's guess right now that we go up or down. But I want to say that this 200 moving average is definitely a favorite testing point for Bitcoin to the downside. So with that said, we can also talk about something called the Gartley Pattern. Now, this is a pattern that I recently familiarized myself with a little bit more, and I knew about it. I always kind of knew about it, but I just never really got into it. But when I decided to run Gartley on this current setup, it just reaffirmed my thoughts. So with that said, I wanted to show you guys how I arrived to this conclusion. And the Gartley pattern basically measures things off the 61.8% level and 127% level. So with that said, let's just fill this out here quick. So X, this is our starting point, and let's just pretend that that this is the indicator that I'm going to use. As you can see, it is full of lines, but we are going to measure X to A right here, and then from there we are going to measure A to B. So bear with me 1 second, folks. So we got B here, and then what we need is C to be up here, and then D is somewhere down here. And so D is the point that you want to buy into the market. Now, this is a weekly chart, folks, so you have to think that, okay, it might take a while to arrive at D, or it might not. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines here. And we are going to go ahead and measure, whoops, the Gartley pattern. And so I'm just going to throw D somewhere down in here. We'll figure that out here in a little bit. But you can see that, you know, by this formation, you know, if our buy-in point is down here, this is not looking good. So how do we know that I have this set up right? Well, let's go ahead and look at the extension from A to B. And what we want to see is C right around that 61.8% level. And wouldn't you know, price action came right up to the 61.8% level. In theory, C can go as high as A, but not higher than A. So we do have we do have a little bit of a cushion here if C were to go upwards more. But we can see that this came up, wicked the 61.8. That is necessary. Now, we are looking for, down here, a retracement of 127. And how do we get that? Well, we measure from here up to A. And so we can see 127 arrives right down by $20,000 mark. So we're just going to plant that right here. I'm going to go ahead and throw this D right here. And now there's one last thing that we need to do. We need to measure this bottom side to see if this is on the 61.8 level. And so we can see right here how price action comes and reacts with the 61.8 level. So this is what I'm seeing right now. We'll go ahead and bear with me 1 second, folks. We will go ahead here, and here's what I'm thinking. So this 127 area is going to be very crucial to buy back into the market at. And if we go ahead and let's just skewer this 200 moving average, and let's just pretend that this is the 200 moving average for a second. This is all for illustrational purposes, and I do think that there could be some accuracy involved with this as well. So, will we hit sometime in January or coming up for a pivot point in the market? Is this going to crash down to these levels? Well, this chart is certainly, or this pattern is certainly suggesting it. On top of those ending diagonals, on top of the weekly bounce off the 50, it would, I have no problem assuming that we will see price action trend lower. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this 200. And of course, if price action comes steaming down, that will bend the 200 slightly. I mean, we might see a buy-in date somewhere in here. So the other thing we can kind of go ahead and do is throw up some Fibonacci time sequence. And interestingly enough, if we go ahead and measure from this swing high to this swing low, we almost predicted a top here. I'm not sure what this is going to predict in November, the week of November 8th. Keep that in mind. But we do have some interesting lines showing up on the chart, especially with this first confirmation. So let's just go ahead and skewer this again. And all I'm doing is trying to pull an average out of this 200 moving average. So, I mean, it's anybody's guess as to where this thing could go. But I do think that when Bitcoin crashes, if it does in this instant, 20,000, somewhere in there may be a good buy-in point. In addition, I want to give a huge shout out to all my Patreons. Thank you. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon, it's $3 a month. You get your name, YouTube channel name, or business name on this banner that shows you support the channel. Thank you all. Hope you have a wonderful day and enjoyed this video.